In ancient times, the life of a child with disability was a tragedy. His life was destined to be dark. But with time, he saw the sun shining upon him. The rays of sun made him smile. Let's have a look at the evolution of special education. I'm Ann Dias, an advanced diploma student at South Asian International Institute of Higher Education. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about era of exclusion as my first topic, then era of ridicule, era of asylum, pioneers of special education, era of segregation, era of inclusion, and as the last topic, let's have a look at substantial separation and full inclusion. Era of exclusion. In the era of exclusion, disabilities were treated as it is a punishment of the god or an evil sign. The individuals with disabilities were considered as abnormal and they were excluded from mainstream society. It was said that such individuals negatively influenced those in the mainstream. They were not allowed to enter sacred places, and as a consequence of this philosophy, these children had to go many physical and mental torture. Their father had the right to terminate the life of the child. They were left on hills to die, thrown off cliffs or drawn, either changed or locked away by their own family. Next, we are coming to the era of ridicule. In this stage, those with disabilities were used as servants or fools. The ones who were considered as useless were still put to death. Dwarfs were used as clowns. State did not take any responsibility for their basic needs, and they did not have any human rights. Era of asylum. Even though this era was consist of acceptance, they believed that once disabled is always disabled. In this era, Catholic Church accepts those with disabilities as wards of state. They were cared in isolation, treated humanely, and seen sympathetically for not getting their rights. The state was forced to take their responsibility, but still no education was given. Let's have a look at the pioneers in special education. These pioneers are the rays of sunshine who were able to bring a smile and a hope for these children. Reverend Pedro Ponce de Leon is the one who created the first documented experience about education of deaf children in 1578. Abbé Charles Michel de l'Épée. In Paris, he created an institute for deaf children. In 1829, Louis Braille invented Braille script for the ones with visual impairment. Jean-Marc Gaspard Itard. He is a French physician and educator, argued that special teaching methods could be effective in educating disabled children. He used systematic techniques to teach a disabled boy named Victor. Edward Seguin is a French psychologist who studied with Gaspard, developed education programs which stressed the importance of developing independence and self-reliance in disabled students. Era of segregation. With the untiring effort of the above pioneers, these children became fortunate to get education which made them to open their eyes to the world. As a step towards special education, an alternative system of education was born, but in an isolated and special segregated settings. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this special segregated setting? Advantages are promoting cooperation rather than competition, trained staff, equipment and specialized service, ability to meet individuals carrying same disability can be taken. Now let's come to the disadvantages. These children can learn the skills, values, attitudes and behaviors of disabled only. Loss of links with the community, poor preparation for future life also can be taken as disadvantages. Era of inclusion. This era is also known as era of integration or era of mainstreaming. What is inclusion? Inclusion is including special kids with disabilities with all others in the mainstream. In the era of inclusion, these special kids are not separated, segregated, or isolated. Inclusion can be seen under two main paths. They are substantial separation and full inclusion. Under substantial separation, these kids learn in a separate classroom with small number of students. Students are in a separate setting for the whole day, not participating in any activity with the mainstream. But in full inclusion, students learn in a general education classroom, involves bringing the support services to the child rather than moving the child to the services, and they also can participate in almost all the activities with the mainstream. It has been a long journey for them, but the journey still continues because they did, they can, and they always will.